Hi guys and gals, Shane Stevenson, Director of Museum Collections and Curator here at the Buffalo Naval Park. Again, standing in Admiral's quarters on USS Little Rock because we're going to be talking about one of my fast becoming favorite cruisers, USS Northampton. I've covered it a little bit in the ANSPS 2 video. So some of those images from that video will be replicated and duplicated here. But of course it stands to reason. It's good to stand in the Admiral's quarters of USS Little Rock, the command and control space, one of them on the USS Little Rock, while talking about the command and control ship, CLC-1 and CC-1 as well. So we've got the whiteboard over here. We've got a few photos. So we're going to be showing those photos as I talk a little bit about USS Northampton. So USS Northampton was originally constructed as an Oregon City heavy cruiser. All right, she was left incomplete at the end of World War II, and from 1951 to 1953 she was converted and completed. All right. Came into service in 1953, and she was known as CLC-1, Command and Control Task Fleet Command Ship, from 53 to 61, and then she was redesignated as CC-1, right, Command and Control National Emergency Command Post Afloat, and that was towards the very end of her career, specifically to be the Presidential Emergency Command Post. But from 1961 to 1970, she was converted to CC-1. So what are some of her unique features? Right, one of the most interesting things is that she had an extra deck down below. Traditionally, and say on USS Little Rock, there is second deck, third deck, first platform, second platform, and hold. Well, she had an extra deck. So I don't know if that became the second deck and then they went down, all right, in the traditional route, and there just would have been, say, a third platform. Of course, the ANSPS 2, only two ships carried those, the USS Little Rock and the USS Northampton. And for Little Rock, it was only the first 2 years of her existence as a CLG. Very noticeable is the 125-foot communication antenna, or what the crew would call the big stick. And you can see those in the photographs very clearly. Stories include that they would string up 26 strands of Christmas lights, and of course, if they were in port, home ported, they would always be awarded the best decorated ship for Christmas because of the big stick communication antenna on the bow. Most of the ship was air conditioned. The only spaces that were not were the engine rooms, the fire rooms, and the store rooms. Right, most of the equipment on board was for communications, intelligence gathering, and so that equipment needed to be kept at a constant temperature. Right, so most of the equipment on board was for the collection, the processing, the evaluation, the dissemination of combat intelligence. All right, so there was a lot of tactical and strategic communication equipment on board, and again, they needed to be set at a constant temperature. She also had a saltwater washdown system for nuclear fallout, so running those tests from the Bikini Atoll and other nuclear tests. If a ship was, say, 25, 30 miles away from the detonation point, the washdown system and getting the crew down below was studied at that time of one of the best protections for nuclear fallout. She also had the ability to carry 2 helos, though usually when they were seagoing, they carried 1. Okay, so now for some stats. All right, she was 677 feet in length. She was 70 feet at the beam. She had a mean draft of 19 feet. The complement of the crew was about 1,600. They were able to go 33 knots. After 1953, in her conversion, she carried 4 single 5-inch 54 mounts and 4 twin 3-inch 70s. Right, but as mentioned, she was then designated as a National Emergency Command Post afloat, and during that conversion they had to expand the forward superstructure, which led to the removal of 3 of the 5-inch 54 mounts. And then in photographs you can see that forward superstructure growing. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, they were assigned to Chesapeake Bay, and they would travel Chesapeake Bay because they would need to pick up the president if a nuclear event occurred. And so for 28 days during the Cuban Missile Crisis, they were be able to quickly pick up President Kennedy if necessary. Some of the famous dignitaries aboard were President Kennedy and President Lyndon Johnson. King Baudouin of Belgium also visited, as well as King Olaf V of Norway. She was decommissioned on 8 April 1970, and then was held in reserve in Philadelphia, which then means that potentially USS Northampton would have been a vessel that the Buffalo Naval Park could have acquired. If I'm remembering right, she was sent to a scrapyard in 79-80. So when we were going to pick up USS the Sullivans in 1977, and they said, hey, look at the Little Rock. It would have been interesting if someone said, hey, look at the Northampton. So, what could have been, what could not have been? Well, thank you very much for this video. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about the Northampton command and control ship. And thank you for all of your support. Our season is open now. Again, we have the eclipse coming next weekend, and we expect to have a lot of activity down here. So thank you again. We will see you again soon. Please leave comments, ring the bell, subscribe, think about becoming a member, $4.99 a month, and you'll get extra videos. And we shall see you again soon. Thank you.